Greetings, Principles of Marketing people. Welcome back to the exciting lecture series of Principles of Marketing. Today's installment, Chapter 17, Direct, Online, Social Media, and Mobile Marketing. Not Mobile. That would be my hometown. Similar, but different. And I don't know why I have two slides in there that say the same thing, but that's what we're going to talk about. So first, definitionally, direct and digital marketing involves engaging directly with carefully targeted individual consumers and customer communities to both obtain an immediate response and hopefully, that's what they should have worked in there, build lasting customer relationships. All right, there will be several slides in here that are just definitions that you should know, and then we'll talk about them in greater detail. So, for a lot of companies today, because digital marketing, direct marketing, social media marketing has enabled a lot of companies to cut out the middleman. All right, that concept is called disintermediation in marketing. That's their complete business model. I have on here an example of Priceline.com. That's the way they do business. They don't have stores, brick and mortar stores. It's all online. And, of course, there are pluses and minuses to that, but for their business, it must work just fine. They've been in business for a while. An interesting nugget about Priceline.com is when they started, before they went live on the internet, started their business, they went and bought every domain name that they could think of that somebody else could think of who maybe did not like them or their business, like Priceline.com stinks, Priceline.com sucks. They bought them all before they went live. They were very early in doing that, but today firms, generally everybody does that. And if you're starting a business and you have buying a website, you might think of doing that as well. You can Google a story about Mike Bloomberg when he was about to leave as mayor of New York and his foundation, and all the domain names that they bought that included his name and then something derogatory, so that other people couldn't buy it. So, of course, like everything involving the internet and technology and social media and digital marketing, it's the fastest growing form of marketing. How do we know? Well, the slide says it, and I'm telling you, but how else would you know? Well, the budgets for social media marketing and digital marketing go up. Not every marketing budget goes up, but those go up year after year because it's effective. Is it the only effective way? No. That's why you still see billboards up and down the highway and commercials on television. But very fast growing, and it's good to have those skills when you're in the job market. And continues to become more internet based and claiming a surge in sales, marketing, spending, and sales, which I just said. Benefits. It's convenient. You can do it from a phone, you can do it from a laptop, a tablet, a desktop. Anyway, you can generally access all the tools from all those platforms. Ready access to many products. Customers like it because it I'm sorry, I had a pop-up. You can get comparative information, right, about different products that you want to buy at a, drop of a hat. In just an instant. You can comparison shop and prices and availability. And it's interactive and it's immediate. right now. Back in the day when, in my early days of playing rock and roll bands, we used to have to go to the local pawn shop and hope that the guy didn't know what the cymbals were worth or the amps were worth, and try to get out of there with a great cymbal or an amp that somebody, some merchant seaman had traded in to get money to go out on the town. And of course now none of that's available, because every pawn shop owner, all they have to do is just look on the internet what the guitar is worth, and they know it. So those used to be fun times in high school, but you've been robbed of them now. It's a great tool to build customer relationships. Low cost. Now, platforms are low cost typically, but to have somebody who's good at it, you have to pay, because personal social media messing around is different than social media marketing. And you need to be able to understand the metrics of it, and social media dashboards are required generally. I mean, if it's a big business, even a small business. But it is efficient, it's fast, flexible, and you can reach people that other channels may not allow you to reach. Maybe they're, cord cutters and they live out in the woods, and they only access the internet through their mobile phone carrier or something. And you can also really target people down to, instead of just saying I would like to target Hispanic women aged 27 to 30, you can really burrow down and get that target market in a certain place on a certain street that drives certain cars. We're going to talk about how that data all those data points come about. A couple years ago, when people were getting really worked up and incensed about their data being used and tracking that data, Apple decided they would come out and try to make it with a new version of their browser, try to make it tougher for companies to track you. Now, you know that how successful that's been, because if you search for dog food and then go to Instagram, you'll get dog related ads. Right? It didn't, they try, but it's tough because it's generally not regulated. It's not regulated by the government or any law enforcement entity. Data brokers kind of regulate themselves. We'll talk about that again in a minute. So privacy on the internet is nearly impossible, and marketers love it because they're collecting data on people all the time and everywhere, which makes it easier for them to specifically target the people that they want to. And marketing argues that it saves me from receiving ads about things that I'm not interested in. That's the plus side. But if you really don't want to be tracked, use DuckDuckGo. Now, is it perfect? No. But if you search for things on DuckDuckGo, you can go right to Instagram or Pinterest or wherever, and you won't see ads for that. They don't get it. It's a kind of a niche market. Not a niche market. It's a very popular new search platform that I've been using for a while, just messing around and trying to see if they're able to get through it and follow my journey. And it's pretty successful according to my experiments thus far. But you might want to download it and give it a go if you don't like if you're worried about your data or being tracked. What do marketers and companies do with that information? Well, they want to track where you started and if we converted you to a member or a purchaser, because conversion is the key. And we refer to that as the customer journey. So we would use that to say, person A They were at Facebook and they clicked on an ad for something, and then maybe we sent them a direct message, either in a banner ad or something, and then maybe they went over to Twitter to look at the handle for it, the car or the sports team or whatever it was. Organic search. They went looking for their own. It just came up. And did they ever click a Google paid ad? And then sign up. Well, what does it matter? The direction that you might take to purchase. Well, because there's a shortage of time and money in this life, and you want to spend the money where it's working. So if you're spending a lot of money on Google ads, AdSense or Google paid ads, and you're looking at the customer journeys through your software, you say, we never really get much play on that, but we get a ton of play off of our direct ads that we drop in. So maybe let's spend more money there and not. Anyway, it's called multi-touch attribution, and part of the reason that so much data is collected on people. So, forms of direct and digital marketing. On the left side, you can see online marketing, and that includes websites, advertising, email, social media marketing, mobile marketing. And on the right side, we have the more traditional ways. Face-to-face selling, like buying a car. Direct mail marketing. Everyone's mail is full of direct mail marketing pieces, so they must work. And we're going to talk about that later. Catalogs, everybody gets those. Telemarketing, Lord knows you get those, especially on cell phones these days. Direct response TV marketing, where you can, you have 30 minutes to buy this imitation diamond bracelet for Christmas. Your grandmother will love it. And kiosk marketing, which we'll also talk about. All of those things are an effort to build customer engagement and community. Okay? So, multi-channel marketing or omni-channel marketing is widespread. I have an example here of Staples. You can go in a Staples brick and mortar store and buy some ink for your printer or paper. You can also go to their app or their website and order it, and they'll ship it right to your house. In the store, if they don't have the ink you're looking for, you can go, if you don't have your phone, they've got a terminal right there where you can order it and they'll ship it to your house for free. And it's funny, I get it the next day. Well, sometimes I get it the same day. I don't know how they do it, but so that involves marketing both through stores and other channels. As opposed to Priceline.com, which we talked about earlier, many companies are omni-channel marketers. Walmart, Target, etc. So they blend the two. We're going to come up on some definitional slides here. I'm warning you, I think there's about 2 or 3 of them. Of online marketing. It's marketing via the internet using company websites, Walmart.com. Online ads and promotions, emails, online video and blogs. Marketing websites, they're just devoted to that. Engage consumers to try to move them closer to a purchase, to get them motivated, right? To remind them, inform them, or persuade them. And then there are branded community websites. A lot of people are fans of certain brands. Apple has several branded community websites. Still Power Tools, Starbucks, those all exist. And they've got a community around those products. Those are all parts of online marketing, as is online advertising. And everybody knows that's, when you're playing words with friends and you get an ad for a cell phone cover, that's what that is. search-related ads where they've gotten your search history from Google and they hit you with ads you've been looking for. Online classifieds, etc. Email marketing involves sending highly targeted, highly personalized relationship building. I don't know if it's relationship building, but email marketing is very effective. I know, Gen Zs wouldn't agree, and I hate email, but and I hate email marketing, but it works, or they wouldn't do it. Especially if you can get somebody to forward your email about a discount on something to somebody else. That other person is going to typically open that a lot faster if it's coming from a friend than if it came from the firm. And spam. That's all the junk that you don't want. You didn't ask for it. And, as soon as you get your inbox trained to throw all that to trash, one of them breaks through. So now let's talk about viral marketing and online video. Kind of everybody should know, that I'm talking to, generally what viral marketing is. Right? The gold standard in marketing is word of mouth communication. Me telling you that this car is excellent and I love it. And you know that I don't own the car company or I don't own the car dealership, and I'm just giving you my unbiased opinion that it is a great car. Viral marketing is the new word of mouth. Not that word of mouth is still not very effective, because it is, but now instead of 1-to-1, we can share it 1 to 1,000, right? And marketing content that is so infectious that customers seek it out or pass it along to friends. Now, oftentimes for me, that means it's funny.